Hi everyone, I'm Shreya pattar. I am a content creation agency owner. I've been writing for a long time. I've been writing since I was 8 years old, but that kind of writing was different. It has a lot to do with the fact that I love writing. But the first piece of
Yeah, yeah.
content as such, not writing, was 3 years ago on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Or if we say like the professional one.
Do outreach as well. Reach out to at least 10 people a day for the next 30 days, see how that goes as
Yeah.
well. So I would say you have to definitely remove yourself from those ideas that if you charge less, you'll get paid, you'll get more work. That's not true. More than advice, take action because that's what you need. Otherwise, it's useless to have just a bunch of advices and not do
Yeah.
anything about it. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's my advice. Take action.
Okay. So hey Shreya, how you doing?
Hi, Puneet. I'm good. Thank you for having me here. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you so much. So before we start the podcast, so I would like to thank you so much for giving such a pleasure time and for coming on the White Collar podcast.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. So before we go on with the flow, please give me a short intro so that the audience can also know more about you.
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone, I'm Shreya pattar. I am a content creation agency owner. I was a freelancer, so what I teach online is mainly freelancing for newbies. For my clients, I work on content marketing and branding, but if you follow me on Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn, I'm mostly teaching you how you can find your own clients, make money, how you can freelance successfully, do it full time. So yeah, that's what I do. And in terms of content creation, I love doing such podcasts as well. I've written 5 ebooks, a few more coming out in the coming months, and yeah, super excited to see how we can what we'll
Yeah, yeah.
discuss today.
Sure, sure. And I also follow your Instagram account and LinkedIn. It's totally amazing. The content you make,
Thank
the
you,
that's amazing. That amazing. Thank you, thank you.
thank you
So,
so much.
if we talk about your content creation journey and how this journey started, like
Hmm.
what was the scratch point from? Like it was like a fluke, or you have a some bucket list? Like every journalist have some starting point or a scratch point from where that the journey
Hmm.
starts. Yeah.
Right. So I've been writing for a long time. I've been writing since I was 8 years old, but that kind of writing was different. It was mainly, a lot of personal writing, poems, essays, musings, sorry, journalistic kind of writing. But my first piece of content online was about 3 years ago on LinkedIn. So the piece of content was about a meeting I had in college with the then CEO of LinkedIn, and I just put out a short post on LinkedIn about that meeting, how the conversation went, things like that. And I didn't expect much from it, but that first post picked up, and that first post went viral. And because of that, I got some clients, and I realized that okay, if I just put content out there, people don't care if I'm a student or what I'm doing. They will still, want to hire me, work with me, pay me, things like that. So I kept creating content online. So that was my starting point. How that content piece came to be, yes, it has a lot to do with the fact that I love writing. But the first piece of
Yeah, yeah.
content as such, not writing, was 3 years ago on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Or if we say like the professional one, journey towards the
Yes.
professional. That's great.
Yes. Yes.
Amazing, amazing. So if we take the general term like freelancing, so
Hmm.
one question arises to every beginner who is freelancer, that how to get clients and convince them easily. That's the
Hmm.
basic question arises.
Right. Uh, so how do you get clients? Well, in the past few years, it's become much easier, although much more challenging as well, but also much more easier because of the internet and the fact that all the platforms that you can think of are potential marketplaces for clients. So you don't have to fight over less paying gigs on platforms like Fiverr or Upwork, which usually pay about $5 per hour. Instead, you can define your own rates and you can reach out to people on, say, platforms like LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram, which are the platforms I
Yeah.
focus on. Or you could also do like cold emailing, you could use cold calling, things like that. But the idea is that, first of all, with the whole aspect of content creation, it's become much easier to, you know, uh, instead of look for clients, to be found by clients. So what you do is you create content that would help your clients, that would help them understand that you're an expert at what you do. So what
Yeah.
the kind of content I create has a lot to do with, let's say, LinkedIn branding or content creation itself, along with freelancing, yes. But initially, my goal was and always has been that any piece of content I write, it has to be one of the best pieces of writing that you've seen. It has to be high quality. The message doesn't really matter, like the content, that's fine. Like, what is the value of the content? That's okay. But my content should look professional. It should look like, okay, this person knows writing and she's good at it. And because of that, I get my clients. So I would say if you want to find clients, first is definitely create content, build that brand visibility, do outreach as well. Reach out to at least 10 people a day for the next 30 days, see how that goes. And when you keep doing that, you build credibility over time. So that convincing factor goes down. You won't have to like even now, I get a lot of messages from new freelancers who say, I would like to write for you, and they end their message with, my rates are very affordable, very cheap.
Yeah.
They are below the industry standard, stuff like that. It's not a good thing to see. You might think that it's convincing the other person to hire you, but it's not, because it shows that, okay, you're not putting a good value on what you have to offer. Why are you offering it for so cheap? And of course, the word cheap doesn't really fit well as
Yeah.
well. So I would say you have to definitely remove yourself from those ideas that if you charge less, you'll get paid, you'll get more work. That's not true. If you charge less, you will get more work, but you'll get too much work and you won't be happy with what you're getting
Yeah.
paid.
Yeah.
So
And it's
yeah,
it's it's a myth. If I charge less money and I will be getting a good clients and all, and
you
it
will
shows,
get clients,
but it
but
showed
you won't get good
something
clients. Yeah.
disrespect. Like it shows something like disappointment to the client, that it's not the good freelancer, something like that.
Yeah, like if it's so cheap, then uh, there's one thing, of course, you want somebody affordable sometimes, especially if you have a low budget. But once you call yourself as somebody who's offering work for cheap or below industry rates, then yes, it does raise some trust issues and questions about why you're doing that.
Okay, nice. So what are the key features to create content for your clients, like the key factors when you create content for your clients, strategies for the clients?
Okay. So of course, there's no one fit answer, because every
Yeah.
client is looking for something different. You're
Yeah.
offering
Yeah.
something different. The goal, purpose, everything's different. So there's no overall blanket solution here. I would say that make sure you and your client are aligned on what you're offering for them. So make sure that you are both, once you've, even on the sales call, make sure that you have clarified what you're going to do for them and what you're not going to do for them. Once you are hired by them, again, have an introductory call and explain once more that, okay, this is what we'll be doing. This is the broad strategy I'm thinking. This is the timeline. This is what it'll look like. This is what we'll hope to achieve by the end of the first month, 3 months, 6 months, whatever. So when you have these expectations laid out, it's much easier, first of all, for um, you both to be aligned and to make those changes early on. Like if the client is not happy with that, they can instantly tell you, okay, let's, instead of these three things, let's keep two and change one, that way.
Yeah.
So you're minimizing those edits, those back and forth, and you're increasing your client happiness and satisfaction as well. And you are also more confident on where this association is going. You both have it very clear what your expectations are from each other. So the better you can lay it out and the sooner you can lay it out, the much easier it will be to work with your client and to give them good work. So yeah, well, prioritize those clarity and
Yeah.
expectations first. Yeah.
Perfect. So how do you integrate SEO with your content?
SEO is a different service. It's not a content writer's job to do SEO. Of course,
Yeah.
content writers can know a little bit about SEO, how it works. But
Yeah.
SEO is a different service. So that's not something I offer. And that's not something I'm an expert in.
Okay, that's great then.
Yeah.
So, what are the if you, there are many places where the contains are necessary, like the web content. There are many
Mm.
articles, blogs, etc. So, what are the key features or the essential components of the web content?
For web content, it has to be USP based. It has to be something that uh, lays out the value aspect of whatever product or service you're selling rather than the features. So it's always benefits over features, right? You don't want to say uh, you don't really want to focus just on what your product has, but what your product can do for your customer. And one of the best ways to create this content is, as a content writer, is that you have to ask your clients a lot of questions and get a lot of information about their target audience, their target audience's pain points, their challenges, what their product does, how soon the product can get them results, how the product improves the quality of life, all those broader aspects that go beyond just what the company is doing and what it stands for. So this is the same like how you would do for a sales page, right? You would really dig deep into
Yeah,
what your customer really wants, and then you would keep talking about
yeah,
that
of
to
course,
convince
it
them
should
to
be
buy it.
precise one. Yeah,
Yes, it has to be precise and it has to be audience first. You don't have to talk about how many awards your product has won. It's more about how many success stories do you have with your product.
yeah.
That's more important. So, yeah.
Perfect. Amazing. So, do you think this freelancing can overtake the full-time job?
I don't think so. I don't think that everyone can become a freelancer. I think it has to be a mix because freelancing for a lot of people is very temporary. So when I look at it from like a company owner point of view, having only freelancers in my entire team for me at this point looks like a risky thing if I were running a proper business, like especially if it's a product-based business or it's a SaaS business, something that requires constant management, constant overlooking, constant updates. I would want some people who are definitely working with me full time, who are working with me right from like the inception of the company, so that they know what it has been like to start a company versus growing, and how all the challenges that we faced, how to do it better, things like that. That's my point of view right now as somebody who's just starting out in entrepreneurship. I'm quite young, so
Yeah.
I think my views might change, but yeah, right now I think that it has to be a mix of both. In its own,
Okay.
it has its own benefits, but yeah, from the company owner's point of view, I think a mix of both is needed.
Perfect. So, after this COVID period, do you think like number of freelancers have increased because of the
Yeah, they
COVID
have
period?
increased. Definitely, because people have more time. People have had more opportunity to also work online, work for themselves, even if they have a job. Just again, because of time and because they're not inside the walls of offices, so they're
Yeah.
not, constantly
Yeah.
looked
Yeah.
upon by their team on what they're
Yeah.
doing. So yeah, you have that freedom. You can, if you're working like, if you could have a 10-hour a day job, but you probably spend like 5 hours or 6 hours actually doing the work, and then you have more time to freelance. So yeah, definitely a lot of people have picked it up, and some people have also quit their job because their freelancing picked up so well. So yeah, I'm
Okay.
glad some people were able to make the most of it. Yeah.
And there is a myth of the freelancing that the freelancing is just by the fluke or by the luck, because it depends. I think that it's totally bit depends on your work, the
Mm-hmm.
quality of your work. But people think
Mm-hmm.
like it's just by the luck and the client will come with luck or something like. Is it so?
It is not so. It's all about processes, right? It's not even about the quality of work. Of course, you have to be good at what you do, but I
Yeah.
don't expect you to be the best at what you do. That's the first thing. You can't really be no one can say
Yeah.
I'm the best in the world at something, right? You can't hit that point. So
Yeah.
first, you don't have to be a complete like expert, the bestest ever person at what you do. You just have to be good enough that you are confident in what you offer, that you can get the client the results that you're promising them. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that you need to have processes, right? I can be a really good writer. I myself think that I'm a good writer. I I have, that kind of storytelling ability that can capture people, but I don't think I'm the best at writing. What I'm really best at is self-promotion. I'm really good at making sure people know me and people know what I do, and that people trust me as a content creator, as a writer, as somebody that they're hiring to work for them and with them. So I am really good at that aspect. I'm really good at the selling part, much better than
Okay.
I would say at writing.
Yeah, yeah.
So if I'm not promoting myself, if I'm only a good content writer, no one's going to hire me because they don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that, yeah, they don't know that I offer certain services, how I can help them. So the more you promote yourself, the more you talk about what you can do for your clients, the more you go out there, pitch your services, or even, beyond freelancing, anything you want for yourself,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have to make a habit of showing up for that and making those opportunities
Yeah.
come to you.
So like the people should
So,
know who are you. If you are creating
yeah,
this content
exactly.
and creating, it's not, it's worth, but people should know you are there in universe, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's all about processes, right? You can't, it's not luck. Of course, sometimes it'll feel like, oh, I bagged a big client, I got
Yeah.
lucky, or I let go of a toxic client, I was lucky, it worked out that way. And at the same time, when I let go of a toxic client, I got a bigger deal. I'm so happy. So I agree that luck works, it exists, but the more harder you work, the more you'll create luck. I strongly believe
Yeah.
in that. So yeah, just keep promoting yourself and create that process for yourself.
Nice. So if I
Yeah.
give you the mic for to end this podcast, so what the
Mhm.
advices will you give to the beginners who are freelancers, uh, who have just
Okay.
started their journey?
See, I would say that when you're a newbie, the natural tendency is to go out and ask as many people as you can for as much advice as you can. So you'll probably think that, oh, you can, message 10 different freelancers who are doing well and ask them, oh, what's the best advice you have? But none of that is going to work unless you start freelancing, right? So, like for example, I get a lot of messages from people who ask me, how do I start freelancing? I send them a video I send them my Instagram link first because all the content is free. I then send them my ebook link. That's a paid ebook, but again, it's much more in depth and it's strategic. This ebook is Freelancing Freedom. So this one is
Yeah.
for, how to start freelancing. But then these people keep messaging me every week with new questions. Okay, but what advice do you have if I'm just starting out in this field? Okay, but will the ebook help me with this? Okay, but is this really? So you're wasting so much time where you could have just invested some hours in consuming either
Read.
free content
Yeah.
or paid content or trying out stuff yourself. So I would say stop looking for advice because you can't get all the answers. And even if you do, it's going to require some time investment and probably money investment from your side. So spend that time and money from your side, but more than advice, take action because that's what you need. Otherwise, it's useless to have just a bunch of advices and not do
Yeah.
anything about it. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's my advice. Take action.
Nice.
Yeah.
Perfect. So thank you, Shreya, for giving me such a valuable time, and it was nice
Mhm.
talking to you. In fact, not only in audience, I have learned so much thing from your, and I'm learning through your Instagram content and the LinkedIn. I do follow your account, and I wish you all the best for your future plans and all. And I would be happy to see your agency achieving the great heights.
Thank you so much, Paneet. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.